Hey guys, this is Ray the Messenger, and in today's video I will talk to you about a topic that is very important for me, and that topic is social anxiety. In my own past, I had struggles with social anxiety. I had really big problems talking to people or even asking people on the street for the time. So at first I will tell you a little story about how I struggled with social anxiety and in the end overcame it, and what you personally can do in your life to overcome it. Because I know that especially in this time today, where a lot of people don't really go outside, there are a lot of struggles with the topic of social interactions, because when you don't socially interact with other people, you automatically get removed from it and you become more awkward at it. So most people that actually struggle with social anxiety didn't really have too many social interactions. So think about it. In your own past, maybe you've also struggled with the social anxiety. You didn't really talk to different people. You didn't really have discussions with other people. So the first thing in my life that I did when I realized that I had massive social anxiety, I was approximately 14 years old or 15 or something like that. And up until that point, I had really big anxiety. And that even carried over until I was 18, 19 years old. So I was basically 18, 19 years old and I had massive struggles with even talking to people, starting conversations. I remember one time, it was in a summer, I think I was 16 years old. I wanted to go outside to talk to some people because I was so afraid to even go outside. Yeah, you can imagine, I was sitting at home and I just couldn't go outside. I couldn't talk to people. I was just so scared. I was so scared. And the interesting thing is that with the social anxiety, it's not really a rational fear, because in the end of the day, what is the worst thing that can happen if you talk to somebody else that you don't even know? The worst thing that could happen is that the person is going to be rude to you and tells you to go away or to F off, and that's really not that bad in the end of the day. But inside of your mind, because you have dreaded the whole social interactions for such a long time, that becomes a huge deal. So subconsciously, the anxiety and the fear has stacked up, because the longer you take to face a fear, the stronger the fear will become. And that was what happened to me. So until that point, until I was 16 and I was in that summer where I had massive anxiety, the anxiety stacked up over multiple years, where I was just sitting at home and playing video games, watching movies and things like that. I didn't really interact with other people, and in the end of the day, that caused me to have massive social anxiety. So what did I do at that point to help me overcome the social anxiety? The thing I did is I said to myself, okay, I'm going to start small. I'm just going to start off with talking to some person, just asking one person what time it is. So that's exactly what I did. So I went out there thinking, okay, this is going to be great, this is going to be awesome. I'm just going to go outside and ask a random person the time. It can't be that hard, right? Actually, it was absolutely horrible. I went outside and I walked around for more than 1 hour. Yeah, I think it was more than 1 hour. I walked through the whole city. You can imagine, I walked upstairs, I walked around streets, I walked around the forest, I walked through the forest. I was everywhere. Yeah, you can imagine, I was basically running through the whole city like a madman, but I didn't actually talk to anybody. So I saw different people that I wanted to ask, but I was just so scared. I was so scared. I couldn't do it. It was impossible for me. And at that point, in my mind, it was like, okay, either I'm going to try it another time or I'm just going to give up. And that's the most important thing. When you're at that point where you feel like giving up, or maybe you've already even given up. Maybe at one point you said, you know what? I'm done with these whole social interactions. I'm just going to seclude myself and just do me. That's great, but in the end of the day, that will cause you issues. So just think about it. Go outside one time and just try to ask somebody for the time. At the first time you will try that, it probably will not work. So then I did it the next day, and then the next day I've talked to some old lady. So I basically asked the old lady, what time is it? And then she told me. And then at that point, you already did it with the thing that you thought is impossible. You already did it one time. So you know what that means. If you can do one thing one time, you can do another thing the next time. So that's what I did the next day. And so basically I kept my own schedule. I told myself, okay, I need to tackle this issue that I'm having with the social anxiety that was so bad that I thought to myself, I'm just going to schedule every day. I'm just going to talk to one person. And that's what I did for 2 weeks. So I went outside and started conversations with different people. I asked them, hey, what time is it? Do you know how I can get to the train station? And then after that gets easy, you just make it a little bit harder, just one step harder. Maybe you go inside a store and have a conversation with a person that tries to sell you something. Maybe you just talk about shoes with the sales clerk and they tell you how great the shoes are, but at least you're getting into conversations. That's the important thing. You need to make it a habit. You need to talk to different people if you have that massive anxiety, because the longer you let that anxiety slide and the longer you let the anxiety linger inside of your system, the stronger the anxiety will be and the harder it will be for you to overcome the anxiety. That's also one thing that I have massive issues with, especially when it comes to women, but that's a whole nother video, because that is basically even worse with the social anxiety for most people, for a lot of people. Now, that's basically my own personal story, how I overcame the social anxiety. In a short term, I just went out and just asked people for different things. Just started up conversations with people I didn't know. This is especially great if you're maybe somewhere where you don't live, so you don't feel like a stupid person or an idiot for running around through your own personal city talking to random people. But in the end of the day, this is really important for your own development. If you're at that stage where you can't even leave the house, I know there are a lot of people that can't leave the house, and maybe you're sitting right here listening to this, thinking to yourself, I think I can't even go outside, Ray. I have such a crippling anxiety. I think I'm lost. And at that point, I'm telling you, you're not lost. Just try. I know it's really hard, but you have to try. And I know there are also people maybe listening to this that have some kind of medical condition. Back in the day when I had the social anxiety, I also thought that I had some kind of medical condition. And at the end of the day, it wasn't really a medical condition, because sometimes you think it's a medical condition when in reality it's not a medical condition. But if you are hearing this right now and you're suffering really from some kind of medical condition or some kind of mental condition where you're like, you can't even go outside, then I would recommend you try to find some kind of psychologist or try to find some kind of therapist to talk to that maybe can help you with that kind of issue. Because in the end of the day, you need to tackle this issue as well as you can. I know that it's really hard, and I know that a lot of people are not capable of doing that, but you just have to try in order to get one step forward. Because if you never take that first step towards getting rid of that anxiety, of that horrible social anxiety, you will never get forward in life, and you will always stay where you stay, at the same spot. Back in the day, when I wouldn't have approached those random people, started up conversations with these people, I never would have seen that, at the end of the day, when I start the conversation with these people, actually there's nothing worse happening. At the end of the day, some people just looked at me weird, didn't even talk to me, and that of course, that really hurted me at that moment. But in the end of the day, I realized it doesn't really matter, and that's the thing you have to keep in your head, that even if you go up to someone and they just tell you to F off, just keep in mind that in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but it just gave you one step forward towards conquering that social anxiety, so you can live out your social life and do whatever in your life, because you cannot live this life isolated from everybody unless you go into some woods and live like a monk. And if you want to do that, then all power to you. That's great. And for everyone else who says, after this video, after listening to my whole personal story, if you think to yourself, hey, you know what, Ray? I think I'm going to try it. Even if I've watched some other videos about this topic that tell me the same thing or some similar thing, I'm telling you, this is what worked for me. I don't know if this will work for you. Maybe something else will work for you. Maybe for you have to talk to more people, or maybe you have to go out there and do some public speaking. Maybe that will help you. You just have to try and figure it out, because everybody has their own personal way of figuring these things out. And for me personally, it worked. Just have a schedule for the next week and just say, okay, you know what? Every single day, I'm going to talk to at least one person that I've never talked to before in my life. Maybe when you're out and about, you're going shopping, just talk to some random person in the shopping store. Just try to do it. And even if you feel weird, think about the long-term benefits that will bring your personal life. I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel. I will plan to do more videos like these and talk about different subjects in terms of motivation, how you can motivate yourself, and personal things that I've experienced in my life. Yeah, and until next time, have a nice day and goodbye.